everyone. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, coming to you live from the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us a part of your day.
Also here, AMC Movie News Editor, Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey, lovely to be back.
And AMC Movie News Entertainment Correspondent, Erin Darling.
Hello and good morning, Internet.
Also at the table, writer-director, John Schnepp.
Delicious heart-shaped water.
Heart-shaped water is the best kind of water.
With award season now in full swing, not only does it mean that the Oscars are upon us, it also means it's Razzie time!
Razzie time!
The Razzies are given out to honor the worst in film and traditionally are presented the day before the Oscars. The nominees for this year's Razzies have been announced, and here they are. Worst Picture, After Earth, Grown Ups 2, The Lone Ranger, A Madea Christmas, and Movie 43. Worst Actor, Johnny Depp, The Lone Ranger, Ashton Kutcher, Jobs, Adam Sandler, Grown Ups 2, Jaden Smith, After Earth, Sylvester Stallone, Bullet to the Head, Escape Plan, and Grudge Match. Worst Actress, Halle Berry, Movie 43, and The Call. Selena Gomez, Getaway. Lindsay Lohan, The Canyons. Tyler Perry, A Madea Christmas. Naomi Watts, Diana, and Movie 43. Worst Supporting Actress, Lady Gaga, Machete Kills. Selma Hayek, Grown Ups 2. Katherine Heigl, The Big Wedding. Kim Kardashian, Tyler Perry's Temptation, you don't say. Lindsay Lohan, Inappropriate Comedy, and Scary Movie 5. Worst Supporting Actor, Chris Brown, Battle of the Year.
Oh.
Larry the Cable Guy, A Madea Christmas. Taylor Lautner, Grown Ups 2. Will Smith, After Earth. Nick Swardson, A Haunted House, and Grown Ups 2. Worst Director, The 13 People Who Directed Movie 43. Dennis Duggan, Grown Ups 2. Tyler Perry, A Madea Christmas and Temptation. M. Night Shyamalan, After Earth. Gore Verbinski, The Lone Ranger. The Worst Screen Combo, the entire cast of Grown Ups 2, the entire cast of Movie 43, Lindsay Lohan and Charlie Sheen, Scary Movie 5, Tyler Perry and either Larry the Cable Guy or that worn-out wig and dress, A Madea Christmas, and Jaden Smith and Will Smith on Planet Nepotism, After Earth. Worst Screenplay, After Earth. Screenplay, Grown Ups 2, written by Fred Wolf, Adam Sandler, and Tim Hurley. The Lone Ranger, screen story and screenplay by Ted Elliott, Justin Haith, and Terry Rosso. A Madea Christmas, written by Tyler Perry, and Movie 43, written by 19 screenwriters. Worst Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel, Grown Ups 2, Hangover 3, The Lone Ranger, Scary Movie 5, and Smurfs 2. John, what do you think of the Razzie lineup this year?
I love me the Razzies. I love the Razzies. I mean, no big surprise. The two big winners this year are obviously Grown Ups 2 and Movie 43. They are the most honored films this year. It is, now what the Razzies traditionally do is when they give like Worst Actor, Worst Supporting Actor, stuff like that, they make it for their year's work as opposed to one particular movie, because I would argue Sylvester Stallone, who was nominated for Worst Actor, was actually not bad in Bullet to the Head, but oh my God, he was terrible in Grudge Match.
Yeah.
He was really bad in Grudge Match. But I really liked him in Bullet to the Head, so I'll call that a pan out. Yeah, lots of great honors for Movie 43. That movie is, it's the only movie I walked out of in 2013. I believe the third or fourth movie that I've walked out of in my life. It's that bad. Wow. Grown Ups 2. I've said enough about Grown Ups 2. I don't need to do more. Yeah, it's a really impressive honor-bound. And the other thing I'll say, too, is for Halle Berry. She's nominated for Worst Supporting Actress. She was also in The Call, so I mentioned The Call. She was actually pretty damn good in The Call.
She was good in The Call.
The Call
That's unfair.
was a nicely little surprising movie. but it was the other one, her performance in movie 43, that was really awful. So there we go. And you guys got Amy Rose. Your thoughts on the Razzie nominations this year?
My favorite thing, just hearing that read to me, was the Smiths from Planet Nepotism.
From Planet Nepotism.
That was pretty
Will Smith and Jaden
spectacular.
Smith.
And honestly, their acting was not bad in the movie. It was the movie, but their acting, they did fine. I think Jaden actually has a lot of talent, but obviously that bombed, and Shamahama, as you so love to call him.
Shamhammer.
He did it again. So it's funny. It's very funny, and hopefully the actors don't take themselves too seriously and can wave and enjoy that they made some bad movies.
I love the one year Halle Berry won the Razzie for worst actress in Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
The year after
2005.
she won her Academy Award for Monsters Ball. And Halle Berry, this is how classy Halle Berry is.
I love her.
She showed up. She went to the Razzie Awards and walked up on stage and accepted. She goes, "I'd like to thank my agent who booked me this role." And she's doing.
That's fabulous.
She played it so great. It made me fall in love with
You've
Halle
got
Berry.
to. If
totally,
you take yourself too seriously in this business, you're not going to make it very far. So I'm glad.
I love it when actors or directors can make a piece of crap, because we all turn in a piece of crap now and again.
Yeah.
And I love it when they go, "Yep, that was me. I
You in the
screwed that
corner,
one."
yes. I served that one up cold.
It makes me respect them even more.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything jump out to you out of this list, Jeanette?
It's funny you mentioned Halle Berry, because I thought it was like, aren't they picking on her a little bit?
Yeah.
I felt like, I didn't see The Call, and I definitely
did.
didn't
I
see
thought it was
movie
good.
43.
Yeah, the call's not bad, actually.
Like, movie 43 is on Netflix for free, and I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, no,
It's one of those
you
you just skip past it. No, when you're going through
I like that too. It said 13 writers from
19 screenwriters.
In
Yes.
quotes, screenwriter.
it's like some of them definitely you see these certain ones you keep popping up, and you're like, I remember a couple other lame movies, but just seeing these so bold in my face, all the other ones kind of wash away. So yeah, good picks, I think.
What about you, Aaron? What stands out to you?
The Razzie Awards remind me of how many bad movies came out, when all I've been thinking about is all the good movies, especially because now we're in award season.
Yeah.
And your head is just in all the recent ones that we've seen. But yeah, there were some stinkers this year. I mean, Jobs, I'm surprised it didn't get more attention. I thought Jobs was really robbed at the Razzies.
Jobs was robbed at the
The
Razzies.
Hangover 3, really, really robbed. I wouldn't
put it on the Razzie list. It wasn't amazing, but I wouldn't put it on.
I actually liked it, but I know a lot of people totally hated it.
It was a lot better than 2.
Yes, it was. It was a big improvement over number 2.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
As most of you know, the James Cameron mega hit Avatar is gearing up to shoot no less than 3 sequels, with Avatar 2 coming in December 2016, Avatar 3 in 2017, and Avatar 4 in 2018. It now appears that you won't have to worry about either Jake or Neytiri dying in the first 2 films, as James Cameron has announced that both Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana have officially been signed on for all 3 sequels. Aaron, what do you think of Worthington and Saldana signing on for Avatars 2, 3, and 4?
I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely shocked. Who's surprised at this announcement? I mean, it was so successful. Of course, their leading people are going to come back. I love the fact that they're planning to shoot it all at once, so that means they will have the flexibility to do things after it's done, which I think it'll take about a year to film these movies. And I would love to see Zoe Saldana, although she is the sci-fi queen right now. I really want to see her get back to roles like Out of the Furnace, smaller indie movies, and I hope she gets to that after she finishes the Avatar
Columbiana.
movies.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally rather not hear that they've signed on for 2, 3, and 4 all at once, because it does take away a little bit of, because James Cameron's the type of filmmaker where you never know. He could kill them off in number 2 or number 3, and now, of course, we know they won't. But as Aaron is pointing out, the fact that they are shooting these back to back to back, you can't really hide the fact that they're signed on for all 3. Right. So you can't hide that. So it was a no-win situation. They had to announce it. And all other things being equal, I mean, I like Saldana and her performance in it. I like Sam Worthington and his performance in it. No problem with them coming back for all 3. I think is pretty good news.
It definitely takes the drama out of it a bit, though, because, I didn't like Avatar as much as I did because of the story. Again, we've talked about how many recycled storylines they've used, from Ferngully Lost Rainforest to Dances with Wolves and so many others. So I'm not, visually it was the most beautiful film and so rich and complex and, very pro-environment, which I'm all about. But I wasn't in there for the great story anyway, so this news is like, all right. But Zoe Saldana also talked about shooting the films back to back like 6 months ago, so color me unsurprised.
Right. The surprise could be they're actually shooting 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Cross it out.
Spoiler!
I see
Spoiler!
blue people. It's like M. Night is like, I see blue people writing the 5th and 6th ones. That's going to be the big explosion. Cameron's like, I gave it to M. Night to finish it up.
I gave it to M. Night to
man.
finish up. All right, folks, listen, we've reached that part of the show called Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And then Schnepp, Amy Rose, Aaron, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
More Ant-Man casting news. It's being reported that actor Michael Pena has been offered a role in Marvel Studios' upcoming Ant-Man, though there has been no word on what his character would be in the film. Production is expected to begin this spring in Georgia, with Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd already cast as Hank Pym and Scott Lang, respectively. Schnapp, what would you think of Michael Pena joining Ant-Man?
I think he's a great actor, especially that still from End of Watch. He was great in that. I think he might play the criminal element with Scott Lang, or he could be a doctor with Hank Pym. Those are the two roles I would see him playing great. He can play good or bad. He's a really good actor. So I'm happy to hear he's cast.
Amy Rose?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I'm glad people are recognizing that. And End of Watch was an amazing movie. He was so good in it. And in American Hustle, his little role in that, he was great in that too. You're right. He can do comedy, drama, anything. So I'm glad he's joining the cast.
Yeah, for me, it's a buy, too. And you're pointing out it's diversity when it comes to him. He can do it all, drama, comedy, action, whatever you put him in. Put him in front of the camera. He's going to deliver what it is you need him to deliver. So whatever role he's going to play in this, say it all the time, it's never a mistake to recruit talent. They just got a big load of talent with him in there. So I think it's great news. For me, it's a buy.
It's a buy for me also. He's versatile, and I mean, Eastbound and Down. Come on. This guy can do drama, comedy, and Marvel keeps surprising us. I'm loving all these surprises.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Avengers star Scarlett Johansson has received her copy of the Avengers 2 script, and apparently she loves it. In a recent interview, Johansson said the following about it. I think the script is dark and it's dry. It has got this amazing one-liner, glass-cutting sense of humor. Obviously, the script is very cerebral. It doesn't lose that exciting comic book aspect that people enjoyed in the first film, but it's smart and it feels like the next installment. It doesn't feel like a rehashing. It feels like these characters are moving forward. Plot lines are moving forward. It's deep, and I think that's why people really respond to the Marvel Universe, because the films are fun and exciting and have all that flashy stuff, but there's a gravity to them. People can expect that gravity this time around. Amy Rose, what do you make of Johansson's comments?
You said Avengers. Bye. Bye. I mean, it's a great quote. I'm really glad to see that they will be moving forward. But Joss Whedon's amazing at this universe. So I had great faith in him, and I do really like Scarlett as Black Widow. When she first was cast, I was like, sure, she's hot, she'll look good in spandex, we know this. But I thought she really brought something to the role. So I'm really happy that she's enthused about it. What is she going to say? The script sucks, obviously. But it does seem like it has a lot of depth, and I'm just so excited to be, get the reassembling of my favorites on the screen. So I'm enthusiastically in.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I like that questioning picture of her too that you guys showed. She's like she's really thinking, it is cerebral, yet flashy, yet we're all together.
Gravity.
Yeah, I'm glad that she dug the script and everything she said. Like, there's no spoilers in it, but it also gives you a little sense of that, the stakes are up. So I'm excited that she's excited.
Aaron?
Sometimes sequels fall into this trap of less character development and more plot development. I love the fact that the way she's talking about this right now makes it sound like we're not going to be robbed of that character development. We'll be seeing a lot more of it. So I'm pretty excited for this. It's a buy for me.
Yeah, for me it's a buy too. And the main reason why is because, like you were pointing out, what's an actor supposed to say about a movie they're about to come up in? Script's not so good, but it's a big paycheck, so I'm going to be in it. But here's the thing, Scarlett Johansson is not notorious for hyping up and talking a lot about her upcoming projects. She's actually notorious for being rather subdued, and the fact that she's kind of gushing about it like this, once again, you got to take it with a grain of salt because she's in the movie, but this is not normal behavior for her, so that's kind of exciting to see. So for me, it's a buy. All right, what's next?
Can I just say how intelligent Scarlett Johansson actually sounds in this quote? I thought
Oh,
she
yeah.
was just like
Oh, yeah.
super hot, but apparently she has some
Oh, no,
brains.
she's very intelligent.
Say it, woman. She's smart.
She is smart. Alrighty, as we get ready for the official Oscar nominations to be announced, one of the films sure to get a lot of Oscar attention is hitting theaters again nationwide. The Tom Hanks film Captain Phillips is back in theaters for 1 week, starting today across the country, giving everyone a chance to see it on the big screen before the big Oscar night. John, what do you think of re-releasing Captain Phillips?
Look, you know me, movies are meant to be seen in a movie theater environment with the giant picture, giant sound, and with an audience of people, sitting alone in the dark watching these movies. I think this is the way to do it. Captain Phillips is one of the best films of the year. I'm excited that we got a chance to go see it on the big screen one more time before the Oscars, so for me it's a buy. Rose?
Yeah, also by. I love Tom Hanks, however
Tom-
Amy
they said
Poehler
it?
said. That was really clever.
Tom
but
Hanks.
Tom Hanks. But yeah, this film was great, and they're going to be doing this a lot with all the Oscar films, the last-minute push to, remember this film. They're doing it with Gravity. That's
Yeah, I was
another
gonna say
film.
Gravity was
I
released,
can't
yeah.
wait, because that's an IMAX 3D experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, Captain Phillips is great, and I think it's a smart move.
Aaron?
I can't wait to see this because I actually missed it in theaters the first time. So for me, this is a huge bite. I cannot wait to see it on the big screen.
I'm with you. I also missed it in the theaters, so I'm going to see it now that they re-released it. I can't wait to see it in the theaters, so big buy for me.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show called Mailbag. Now, before we get into the mailbag, I want to let you know that this show is live, and there's already like 1,000 people in the chat board. So if you've got a question, if you're watching us live and you've got a question you want to ask, you can start throwing them in. Do me a favor, format this way. Write question dash and then your question. And please don't copy and paste it 55 times and don't put it in all capital letters, please. But before we get to that, it is time for mailbag. Look, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us 24 hours a day at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, every day we take a little bit of time, take a couple questions out of the mailbag. Ashley's got a few of them pulled out now. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Sir Her writes, what do you guys think about shooting Batman vs. Superman and Justice League back to back, like The Hobbit or The Matrix? These movies are packed with tons of big name actors and actresses, and they are all tight on the schedule or in high demand. It would make sense to film both films back to back, especially since Goyer and Snyder are thinking big picture, and they probably already have a JL outline, maybe even script, so why not?
There is a rumor going around that DC and Warner Brothers is looking at shooting Justice League back-to-back with Man of Steel 2. And that rumor has been circulating around without any credibility and without any actual real source. I'm going to say I doubt that it's what's happening. Because, look, James Cameron is planning on shooting his Avatars back-to-back to back-to-back. When the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbits are planning back-to-back to back. They're in pre-production on that thing for like 2.5 years. And then they shoot it, so they're ready to shoot back-to-back to back-to-back. All that kind of stuff. I have not heard anything that suggests that DC and Warner Brothers are anywhere near ready to shoot a Justice League movie right in production with Man of Steel 2. Nothing that suggests they'd be ready to do that at all. And you can't be writing and developing a script while you're shooting another movie. I mean, you can do it, but the results aren't going to be so great. And really, we've heard nothing that suggests that they'd be ready to do something like that. And they're going to start shooting Man of Steel 2 here in the next month or two. Nothing suggests they're ready to shoot a Justice League movie. So I don't believe the rumor. Now, in theory, it's the way to go. If you can shoot movies back to back, you save on production expense, you make sure you've got all your actors together, you're in your flow. It just makes sense to shoot these things back to back. But if you're not ready to do it, then you can't do it. And I don't think they're ready to do it. Anyway, Aaron, what do you think?
I don't think it makes sense to shoot them back to back at this point just because so little's known about Justice League and what the future of that project would be. And I also think that they need to allow some time to see what happens in between those two movies in terms of how the audience reacts. And maybe they need to make casting changes or changes to the intended Justice League movie. So I think it's smart to take this little break right now in this case. But I do agree with you. In general, I think shooting in bulk is more economically responsible.
Amy Rose?
Yeah, with consistency, actors, ages, monetary, everything, it makes the most sense. But don't rush our Justice League. Take your time. Like, make sure this is an amazing film. We've waited so long for this, and from everything I've heard, and all indications point that they have a lot of work to do on this. So hopefully Man of Steel 2 will not be Justice League Origins, and hopefully that will still remain the way we want it to be, and then we'll get our Justice League. But take your time, make it amazing. We deserve it. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it could be a combination of the two where they could shoot sequences for Justice League and just get ahead of the game. I mean, there's nothing to say that they don't actually have a working script. And if they are assembling the Justice League, even for a teaser trailer or teaser ending for the Man of Steel 2, why not? You got everybody there. If you have the script and you have, whatever the base is, if they have a Justice League, little hangout, it's hard to tell. But yeah, that makes the most sense. I mean, remember, they shot Superman 1 and 2 at the same time. It just, they fired the director after, Richard Donner was shooting Superman 1 and 2, and that's like the first, of these superhero movies that were ever shot back to back, and that was like over 30 years ago. So to say that they're not doing it, they're probably not, but it makes sense that they are if they have at least a working script.
All right, what's next?
Ramiro Sanchez writes, greetings and salutations, AMC Movie Talkers. So yesterday, the news breaks that Johnny Depp is in talks to play Doctor Strange. And now we find out it's not true at all. Is it just me, or does it seem like every single day we get movie news that the very next day we find out isn't true? Why is movie journalism so terrible? Is it a lack of integrity? Is it a lack of skill? Why can't we rely on our movie news sources? Ouch.
First of all, who asked that question? It was Romero. Romero, it's a very fair question you're asking. You're shining a light on something that's a really big problem and has been a big problem in the movie blog sphere for a while. Indulge me here for a second as I rant on this for a second. Back in the day when movie blogs first really started taking off, I was amongst one of the first guys to do it, me and Vic over at Screen Rant, and there were a lot of really great movie websites that were starting out at the time. In that era, when blogs were really starting to take off, there was this big poo-poo coming down from the established news media outlets saying, blogs are terrible, blogs are awful. If blogs ever took over, you'd have completely unreliable information, complete lack of integrity. You'd never know whether you could trust what they're saying. All they're interested in is clicks. They're not interested in truth or journalism or anything like that, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the bloggers like me at the time thinking, oh, we'll show you, it's going to be a new utopia when blogs take over and traditional media things start to die. But what has happened? In the last couple of years, what we've seen as traditional media news outlets have died, and we've seen more and more national newspapers laying off their film critics, very skilled, trained journalists, film critics, laid off. What's happening? They were right. More and more blogs run with stories every single day that we open up, and we have no idea if any of it's true now. That's just the way it is. There's no integrity, there's no law, there's no rules in place for blogs. It's pretty much the wild, wild west. We can say whatever we want. We don't have to name a source. Hell, we don't even really have to have a source. We can just say it, it sounds glamorous, it looks good in a headline, and everybody starts to click on it. Now, let's go up to yesterday. And I'm going to talk about one site in particular here, just as an example, okay? Not that they're the biggest culprit, just as an example. There's a website that I really like called Latino Review. I've liked them for a very long time. They're very entertaining writers over there. I'm actually friends with a couple of the head guys over there, including one guy in particular, El Mayimbe, that I do a lot of stuff with him at Comic-Con every year. And over the years, Latino Review has, probably more than any other online site, broken the biggest scoops ever. They have historically, they have a terrific track record. But in the last couple of years, they have had a couple big swings and misses. Enough to the point now that when Latino Review breaks a story, breaks a new news piece, I don't run with it until I hear it confirmed from other sources. Now, at the same time, Latino Review is the same site that broke the story, and I believe it was El Mayimbe who did it, that Bradley Cooper was going to be the voice of Rocket Raccoon before anybody else. So Latino Review and the guys there, those friends of mine, they have a certain way of doing things that is different from how I do things. Neither is better or worse, they just do it a certain way. And that's the great thing about the internet and about movies, is that there's all different styles out there. And I'm thrilled that a site like Latino Review is out there doing the work that they do, even though they have put out some stories that turn out not to be true. So yesterday comes along and we get word that, we send out the show notes, and one of our teammates here wrote to me and said, well, aren't we going to talk about this Johnny Depp as Doctor Strange thing? And I said, no, we're not going to talk about it because the only source right now is Latino Review, and they're a little bit hit and miss right now. But even when they miss, you have to always, they're right enough that you always have to keep an eye on any story that Latino Review breaks. Because they're right enough that it could be right. Actually, they just broke another story. The Baron is going to be in Captain America, Captain America 2, they broke that weeks ago, and now it's been confirmed. So another one where they were right. So they're right enough that you always have to keep an eye on it when they say something. But, you know, they're hit and miss, and so I hate the idea of spreading wrong information to our viewers. I hate it. I hate the idea that we mislead our viewers. I can't stand it. And so when a story breaks, and it either comes from like a Cosmic Book Movie News, which is way below Latino Review, or Latino Review, and that's the only source I hold off, personally, that's just my choice, on us reporting it or running with it until we hear confirmation. Anyway, then Variety runs with the story as well. So I decide, a little bit begrudgingly, that okay, we'll talk about the Johnny Depp as Doctor Strange story. Turns out, pardon me guys, turns out that the story is completely false. Both Deadline and Variety put out stories that said, no, Marvel's now saying there's no truth to this. Deadline, which is a very reputable, I mean not 100%, but very reputable news source in this town, came out and said that, look, there was a meeting between Johnny Depp and Marvel eons ago, but nothing ever came of it. There's no truth to this story. And so it's done. Here's the frustrating thing for me. We all get things wrong, and that's all okay. Actually, El Mayembe from over at Latino Review, I got a lot. Remember we were talking about how when actors or directors put out a stinker of a film, we really respect it when they go, yeah, that was me. There's nobody harder on himself when they're wrong than, say, like an El Mayembe over at Latino Review. He'll get on Twitter and say, damn, I hate it when we get something wrong. Like, he'll own it, you know? And that's what makes you respect a guy like that. But what happens is the guy at Latino Review who wrote this story about Johnny Depp being Doctor Strange, his name is Mario. I believe he's relatively new over there. And when Deadline and Variety point out that his story was wrong, he gets on Twitter and attacks them. And this is what he wrote. This is what Mario writes from here. He goes, he wrote on Twitter, so folks, the latest, according to Deadline sources, is that I was right. Marvel and Depp did meet. It seemingly went nowhere, but they did meet. As if he's saying, no, I was actually right, because technically all I said was that they met. No, listen. The headline of the story and the story itself that was written over Latino Review by this guy Mario was specifically to mislead the readers into thinking this is something that is happening now. The whole idea of the article was to attract other news websites to run the same false headline, to attract clicks into your story, to make yourself look good to the head guys over at Latino Review. You gave readers the false impression that this Doctor Strange, this Johnny Depp playing this role, this was something that's happening now. And you were proved to be wrong. And instead of coming out and saying, I was wrong, sorry, I made a mistake, the bad source I had, I'm going to work on being better at that. Instead of doing that, you get your back up against the wall and try to attack the people who proved you wrong by saying, no, technically I was right, because all I said was that they met, and they did meet. Never mind the fact that it was probably 3 years ago and it never went anywhere, but you can't write that in your headline, can you? You can't write, hey, Johnny Depp once met with Marvel a long time ago about Doctor Strange, but never went anywhere. Because that's not going to be your clickbait. That's not going to deceive your readers enough. That's not going to trick all the other movie news websites into writing the same headlines and pointing back to your article, will it? So instead of just putting up your hand like the other guys at your site have done in the past and saying, I blew this one, and maintaining your credibility, you get defensive and write crap like this. Look, true story. About 2 weeks ago, I was notified by two separate sources that Bryan Cranston, even though it wasn't true 5 months ago, that Bryan Cranston, that it's a done deal, he's been hired by Warner Brothers to be Lex Luthor. I had one guy who's working in the pre-production of Man of Steel tell me that, and I had one guy working on the studio level tell me that. And I put it on my personal Twitter, but even when I put on my personal Twitter, I said, hey, listen guys, this may not be true. This is coming from untested sources. I have no idea if this is true or not. I have my doubts. And never did I put it up on any of AMC's official social media channels or our YouTube channel. Why? Because I never heard it from the president of Warner Brothers. Because I never heard it from Zack Snyder. Because I heard it from people who heard it from people. And to me, that's just not good enough. I'm not even a journalist, and even I know you gotta have certain standards before running with stuff like that. I could have created a headline that said, hey, I've heard it, it's been confirmed to me, Bryan Cranston is gonna be Lex Luthor, even though I have my doubts, even though I don't really know that I believe it, and even though it's not coming from rock solid sources. I could have done that and attracted lots of headlines and lots of people putting links in. but I didn't do that. Why? Because even though I have no journalistic integrity, I had enough journalistic integrity to not do it. This has got to change because the movie blog sphere, whether it's us movie guys talking on YouTube, whether it's the blogs, whether it's on Twitter, whatever, we are losing credibility with our own readers at a disturbingly quick rate. And it doesn't help that we got guys like this Mario dude who, when he gets busted for being wrong, instead of coming out and saying, yep, hey, I'm new at this, I'm gonna get better at this, I'm gonna try to get better, comes out and gets defensive and attacks the people who debunked him. This is not the way you do things. This is not the way you create credibility. And as a whole, our industry is losing credibility because of junk like this. Look, no matter how much integrity we have, we are going to get things wrong from time to time. It's inevitable. We're not perfect. The information we get isn't perfect, and we're going to make mistakes. The question is, how do we handle these mistakes, and are we even worried that they're mistakes? I'm not a big fan of the TV show The Newsroom, but there was a great scene in season 1 when the head anchor, Jeff Daniels, gets a big piece of breaking news, and he says, no, we're not running with it. Until we get it from 2 sources, it's not real. And he had that type of integrity, and we need, in the movie blog sphere, to start implementing that type of integrity. This stuff really irks me because it damages this industry, this movie blog, movie YouTube, movie talking fan community that I love so much, and we're damaging it. This needs to stop. This needs to be corrected. We at least need to try to make it right. So anyway, that's my big hoo-ha and rant. Any of you guys have anything you want to add before we move on to the...
Can I get it all done?
Yeah.
Can we get a slow clap up in the studio? Slow clap? Yeah.
Is this
No,
late?
I agree with you. I feel like movie blogs and news sources fall into the trap of often reporting rumors as news. And because it's something that we talk about and we're not saying this is news, this is confirmed, people sometimes interpret it as otherwise.
Right.
So that's another thing that's kind of a misinterpretation of the information that we're talking about, although that is not confirmed.
Yeah, or even sometimes like, we 90% know that this headline isn't true, but we're going to run with it anyway because it's going to get some clicks. I mean, it's just, it's frustrating.
Like I heard that Amber Heard is going to play Clea, Doctor Strange's girlfriend, from a bum on the street. That's what I heard. But I'm not going to say that. I mean, you know, like late at night on our 24-hour marathon, I mentioned something about this Boba Fett movie, and I haven't read the script. That's all I can say.
There you go.
I don't have the script in my hands. So.
All right, listen, I said we're already over time, but I said we were going to get to a couple of the live viewer questions, so I'm just going to rapid fire go through a couple of these really quick. Nice Guy 2003 writes, question, why not use the same actor to play Quicksilver in both X-Men and the Avengers? Really simply because they're 2 separate realities, 2 separate universes, and you don't want to create the confusion that they're somehow connected to each other because they're not. They're completely different universes. So even though they're both called Quicksilver, in essence, they are 2 different characters, even though they're both going with the Quicksilver
And one
name.
guy's a really shiny jacket, looks stupid.
Yeah,
you guys
one is
figure
wearing
out.
a really shiny
One looks
jacket.
really dumb. You figure it out.
Strike Forever writes, question, hey guys, would you guys like to see a Fahrenheit 451 movie? It was one of my favorite books, and I would love to see it on the big screen. That is a movie that would be, you put that into the hands of like, I don't know, why am I forgetting his name? The guy who did Social Network.
Oh, Fincher.
Yeah, you put a Fahrenheit 451 in the hands of David Fincher. That could be really cool. I would love to see it.
There was an old film,
There was an old film.
but for the present day, it'd be great.
Yeah, it wasn't Francis
agreed.
Truffaut, didn't he do it?
I think so.
yeah.
And
But I think
the other thing-
Equilibrium
that's
is
right.
kind of a remake of Fahrenheit
For-
51, only it's got gun kata in it. you
The
know?
other thing too is that Fahrenheit 451 does not exactly have blockbuster written all over it. So I think it'll happen at some point, but they're not going to rush to get something like that made. Spike 8 Strike Force writes, question, do you think the 3rd installment of the new Planet of the Apes franchise will be a remake of the 1968 classic? I really think in many ways, I don't think Rise of the Planet of the Apes is a prequel to the old Planet of the Apes movies. I think the whole franchise is already much rebooted. But I think maybe by the 3rd or the 4th film, you'll probably see us back into the same time era as the original classic. We don't know that for sure yet. And last question, Jason Parrish writes, what is your single most hated movie?
Ever?
For me, here's my worst
It's a tough
movies
one.
ever list. Catwoman with Halle Berry. John Travolta with the dreadlocks aliens. Battlefield Earth. But the worst, I believe the worst film in history, which is weird because the original's in my top 10 favorites of all time. The worst film in history to me is The Highlander 2, The Quickening. That to me is the worst movie ever made.
That's-
What do you guys?
I can only say the Highlander 2, The Quickening, the Renegade version, is not as horrible as you might. No, it's actually a horrible film, but I like it. because it's so bad. So there's movies that are just really bad that I can't think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but there's
I'd
movies
have to
that
think about it.
suck that I love to watch. Those
Yeah.
Highlander 2
So
falls into
bad,
that.
they're so
Yeah.
good. Oh yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat, but I can say I really don't like Double Dragon. Strongly,
Oh,
strongly
Dragon's
dislike.
What are you talking about?
like Mortal Kombat. Come on.
That was
I
Robin.
liked Mortal
Academy
Kombat.
Award.
I just think it's time for a reboot.
All right, folks, listen, that'll do it for us. We're over time. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank those who are joining me at the table. First of all, sitting to my left, our entertainment correspondent, Miss Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Erin A. Darling, Facebook, Erin Darling fan page, and of course YouTube, Erin Ashley D. Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Our movie news editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Amy Rosie. Have a great day.
Writer-director, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
I'm at Twitter and Instagram at John Schnepp. And hi.
And our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Ashley Mova. Have a great hump day.
And you guys can find me on the various social media channels, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Don't forget, lots of great movies playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. And before you go, make sure you click on that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel yet. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until tomorrow, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.